Okay, Mr. Fletcher, you have
Mr.
an
Finoli?
assignment for next week.
Yes, sir.
You were to get the lyrics to our theme song.
All right. I'll work on that.
All right, my friend. Now, it was a damn exciting Super Bowl.
Yeah, but you know what? We were both wrong. We didn't realize the new overtime rules.
Did not. How can we criticize Shanahan if we didn't know them ourselves?
Yeah.
And they're much fair. I think that should not just be a playoff thing. I mean, you got 17 friggin' games. That needs to be an ongoing thing. I liked it.
But do you still go for? Do you accept his call on that one, or do you go for the ball first?
Here's the thing. I personally, I have no problem going for the ball first because it's aggression. I'm going to score a touchdown. And I mean, I have no problem with it. It gives you a minimal advantage. People are making too much of it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I thought the Chiefs were gassed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought it was a good call. Why give them a little chance to rest?
Exactly. I got no problem at all with it. I think people are looking for something to be controversial about. A hard loss. We mentioned it, at the party. If the Chiefs had Mason Rudolph on their roster, we would have been calling for him.
Well, here's the thing. If you roll the tape from last week, I did predict a 3-point Kansas City win in overtime.
You did. You had it on.
I had it by a field goal, but
But our friend Billy almost made the pick of a lifetime, projecting a double overtime, which was one play away from being there.
Yes.
So, your takeaways from Sunday.
Well, I think that Patrick Mahomes is cementing his legacy. He may out-Brady Tom Brady. We'll have to see. So far, so good. On the other side of it, San Francisco has a lot of pending free agents coming. So does this mean their window is closed? I don't know.
In a salary cap world, it might be. And I'll tell you what, if we're talking better teams, I thought that was the better team on Sunday. Didn't win.
Well, here's the other thing, Dave, and this is something you need to think about. We always talk about the Chiefs' offense, but it was the defense that won that game. It was the defense that got them that far because they played 4 of the top scoring offenses in their playoff run, like the number 2, number 3, and number 4, right?
Yeah.
Those teams collectively averaged 28 points a game. Against the Chiefs, they averaged 15.
Wow. I think I agree with you 100%. I think that's what got them to this point. The offense was disappointing for Kansas City. They literally have no receivers. It didn't, you accept the fact of why Kelsey ran into his coach.
It's an emotional game. It's an emotional game.
Still a little pinheadish.
Yeah.
There's the assumption he's in love. Is he in love or lust, Fletch?
Depends on the day, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, the one thing, the Chiefs, if you would have told me that McCaffrey would have more than 160 total yards, I would have thought that's a good sign for the Niners to win. But the Chiefs took out all of their other weapons.
Well, they did. Purdy looked like Purdy generally does. I mean, that's his talent level.
Yeah.
I love the guy. It's a great story, but don't put him on Mahomes' level. He's not there.
No, I mean, they took Kittle out of the game. They took Deebo Samuel out of the game. I mean, it was Steve Spagnuolo is one of the great defensive coordinators in football.
And I'm glad that's exactly what they were calling him. I was afraid they were going to call him the greatest, and that's just too subjective at this point.
Yeah, you can't argue with his success, though. He's been a winner.
You can't. You can't. I'm not saying he's not deserving there, but I still put a Buddy Ryan. I still put a Bill Belichick at that level. I mean, it's tough to say who is the greatest defensive coordinator of all time because they're not in those jobs long enough.
Right.
But he certainly is one. It was certainly a hell of a turnaround. I also give credit to the 49ers because they have very suspect running defense. And they took that aspect away from the Chiefs completely.
They did.
Absolutely.
It was a good matchup.
It was kind of a dud for 2.5 quarters, but you know what? That last quarter and a half of overtime was about as exciting a game as you want to see.
Yeah.
I got to go for the Duncan commercial if we're talking commercials of the game.
Ooh, I got to go for the what was it? I don't even see. It was a good commercial, but I don't remember who it was for. It was the flying football players.
Okay.
Don't remember.
That was good. Now, what do you think of my ban on serious commercials in a Super Bowl?
Yeah, the one that should have been banned was the Robert Kennedy ad. What the hell was that?
I got to tell you, I was laughing my ass off towards the end. But he made his point.
Well, the families disavowed him. That's good.
Did they?
Yeah, they did that. And he, of course, has apologized, but claiming that it was the PAC that did it and he had no control.
Oh.
My ass.
You know, be a man and stand up.
Yeah.
And let it go. But Andy Reid, I mean, you've got to put him in the top 5-6 coaches of all time at this point.
Yeah, and for a guy they say could never win the big one. How about that?
Well, he's been with 2 teams. He's won the big one 3 times. You go up and down that Chiefs roster. You got 2 Hall of Famers at best.
Right.
So, like Bill Belichick, and why I put Belichick in that mode is the same thing. I mean, out of all those Super Bowls, the guy who was with you the longest is probably the only one who's can sit there and say he's a Patriot in the Hall of Fame.
Well, it also goes to show you're a lot better coach when you have a franchise quarterback.
Well, that is the truth, which it leads me to believe and ask this question. How can Mike Tomlin get there without Mitch Trubisky?
Oh, here's the shame of it. I got to spend some time with Mitch at a couple of events, and you won't find a nicer guy.
That's
really just down to earth, humble, can't read a defense, can't hit an open receiver, but a hell of a nice guy. Well,
he seems like a nice guy. I mean, and you root for the guy. I mean, I'm not one of those that, oh, good, you're out of here, you stunk, you stink, I felt bad for him. I mean,
yeah, you got to feel bad for him.
Yeah, I mean, he had one decent season with the Bears, and we talked about this when he was drafted. We didn't think it was a good draft pick at the time,
right?
But I mean, you don't. I don't like people trashing the guy because he's, as I said, and you said, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
But you got that Mason, who, God knows, if he was a starter quarterback, would have won 5 Super Bowls by now. If you listen to the talk shows. But again, a good guy. You root for him. He's not going to be there.
No, he won't be here.
So, what are we looking at? Do you think Justin Fields is a possibility?
They're floating the fact that Tomlin's a Justin Fields fan.
Well, he might be, but do you give up draft capital
No.
for a guy that really has been slightly more than less than a disappointment with the Bears? I mean, I don't think he's had a solid career.
I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets you to that next level.
No. And say what you want about Pickett at this point. He's been 13-5 with a bad offensive line.
Yeah.
And arguably, I mean, you're dominating Arizona when he gets hurt. So
Yeah.
I don't know that they lose that game if he's still in there.
No, but they're going to have to do some things in free agency. They're going to have to do some things in the draft. And as we talked about that for the theme for the show, is talking about some of the really bad free agents in Pittsburgh sports history. And the Steelers have more than their fair share on that list.
They do. I mean, my favorite in the bad area. Just what an embarrassment he was to the city and the coaching staff is LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy was a joke.
What made it worse? I mean, they brought him in there for this 1-2 punch with Le'Veon Bell, and to also sort of mentor Bell. Well, they got in a little bit of trouble. Blunt fell out of favor with the coaching staff. He wasn't playing. He basically quit on the team, then signs again with New England and ends up winning a Super Bowl. That's bad.
Yeah. What about your friend who you think is Hall of Fame quality, Ladarius Green?
Ladarius Green, a lot of that was beyond his control. I mean, he had concussion issues.
Yeah.
Ankle issues. So it was a really brief signing. That was an injury one. So I don't look at that one as bad. I mean, he had some potential, but it would be in my top 5 of the worst Steeler ones. Actually, my number 1, even more so than LeGarrette Blount, is Sean Mahan.
Oh.
I mean, you think about this, Dave. Since for 40 some years, the Steelers had 3 centers. And then they get Sean Mahan. So that you had Ray Mansfield, you had Mike Webster, and then you had Dermontti Dawson. And then who do you have? You have Sean Mahan.
Well, and arguably that's been a weak link ever since.
Yeah. Well, you did get Marquise Pouncey to come in there.
Where's my head? Yeah. Marquise Pouncey certainly is I don't know that he's Hall of Fame level, but
he's close. He's borderline.
He is. It's as if I was having the beer tonight. What are you drinking, by the way?
A little Penn Pilsner Kaiser Pils.
All right. What'd you think of the Brooklyn beer? What'd you think of the Brooklyn?
I like the Brooklyn you serve. Very nice.
All right.
Well, you talk about Mitch Trubisky. I'm going to throw out another quarterback who may have been the slowest quarterback I've ever seen, with the largest rump I think I've ever seen. And that's Kent Graham.
I knew you were going to say him. He was my next one too. He was no Cordell Stewart, my friend.
No, in fact, after like 4 or 5 games, they put Cordell Stewart in.
Yeah.
He was awful.
Ooh. Now, what is I know this is a little off the subject. What is your take on the career of Cordell Stewart?
I think he was 10 years too early. I think that if he would have played in a more modern NFL, they would have found a way to harness him a little better.
Well, I would agree with that. I'd also say I think he's unjustly criticized. I mean, the guy, he had his problems.
2 Pro Bowls, Dave.
And 2 AFC championship games.
Yeah. The one game, some bad passes, though. That game against Denver, they should have won that game.
They were a better team than Denver. But I mean, the critique is he would have been better if they left him be a wide receiver. I think he was a damn good quarterback.
I think he was too.
I don't think he was great by any stretch. But when they harnessed him in 2001, and he had some controls on him, you know what? He was efficient.
Yeah.
So, but he was no Ken Graham.
No.
No. Jonathan Scott.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
That was a bad one. That was a bad one. I do remember the struggling Cam Thomas, who was going to be, a hero in our world.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's you don't have as many free agent blunders here as you do. Forgot about the Dante Moncrief.
Well, that was going to be my next one. That one was a bad one. What, he played one game and dropped 4 passes? Was that?
That was it.
Was it what, against the Patriots, a season opener? Yeah, not a
Yeah.
good way to start.
Yeah, no. He was a huge disappointment. You had a couple wins in free agency on a high level. Certainly, Kevin Green had to be your highest.
Yeah.
As I was thinking about that. On the trade front, I think Jerome is the king
Without a
there.
doubt, the best.
Yeah. So, I mean, certainly a lot of good moves but Trubisky, where do you rate him among the bad ones?
I think that was so much driven by circumstances. I mean, Ben retired. They didn't really have a quarterback that they believed in as a backup, so they went there. The problem is when they made the decision to start Pickett, Trubisky was a very expensive backup who couldn't really do the job.
Well, he was. It was the right decision to make. It's almost as if he played trying not to make a mistake. And anytime you do that, you're dead in the water.
Yeah.
Now,
but every one of our franchises have made some bad picks.
Well,
in free agent.
Yeah. Hard pressed to think of good ones over the last 20 years that our baseball squad has made.
No, and even when they tried to do some of them, like Francisco Liriano, played well for them during that playoff run, and they thought they could get him back again.
Yeah.
And that was a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't have much left in him.
Joe Randa, same thing. They signed Joe Randa to a contract they didn't need to sign him to.
No, it's almost as if you were, trying to say, hey, we acknowledge we made a mistake. Here he is again. But again, he was done.
Yeah.
The man we're both honoring tonight.
Yes.
Could have been the worst one in Pittsburgh history.
2 years, $10 million.
A lot of money for them. I mean, you look at the 2001 when the 1 year out of God knows the last 30 or 40 that we tried to spend money to shoot up the payroll. Who was the pitcher that never pitched from the Dodgers?
Oh, God, I forget his name. Yeah, I forget.
Oh, let me look that up real quick.
But, Derek Bell was just, he was poor attitude, refused to play hurt. And he was playing so poorly, and the fans were booing him, and he quit. Operation shutdown. Left on a boat, Dave. On a boat.
He was a bad man. He was a bad man.
But he had success with the Astros before he came. But he was 32 when he quit?
It was a good signing at the time. Ramon Martinez.
Oh, Ramon Martinez, that's right.
Who got hurt. He got hurt. And pitched fairly poor for him. Went like 0-2 at 8.62 ERA.
Yeah.
That's bad. The year I thought, you should take away any spending options from Kevin McClatchy.
Yeah. Well, and then, for how many years have they had a problem at first base that they tried to fill through free agency?
Yeah.
I mean, you had guys like Lyle Overbay, 1 year, $5 million. That was a disaster.
Yeah.
But you know what was worse? It was Jeremy Burnitz.
That was a
1 year, $6.7 million.
horrible signing. I mean, they have not been. You had a couple decent reclamation projects, but quite frankly, your best ones were through trades.
Yeah,
doesn't count as a free agent.
Tony Armas Jr. I forgot about that one.
Again, trying to reclaim somebody you shouldn't have reclaimed. But they certainly should not be a team building through free agency as we've seen fit over the years.
No.
Although, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Little off subject. What are the 4 greatest words a sports fan can utter?
Ooh. I'm stumped by that. Go ahead.
Pitchers and catchers report.
That's 3.
They reported. Pitchers and. Why do people not accept "and" as its own word?
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Is it in the dictionary?
It is. You're good.
All right. I'm not giving you the little "and" sign.
No ampersand for me. I've not earned it.
See, Oneberg has forced us to use the sign. So maybe that's 2 words to them.
It could be.
Although in the description, it's really 1 word because there are no spaces.
True.
Yeah, you can see it down there. Take a look.
I see it. I see it.
All right.
So what about your Penguins?
It was the guy. Yeah, but again, most of these busts are trades now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, I mean, the Penguins did 1-1 similar to the Pirates. I mean, they drafted Rod Scuderi. Couldn't afford him. He went to LA. They brought him back at like 35, and they signed him to this. It was like a $14 million 4-year contract, and he's 34 years old, and he just couldn't play anymore.
That part was stupid. But you know what? He wasn't horrible when he came back, though.
Wasn't great. Was not great.
He wasn't what he was. We have breaking news here. We have defeated 21st ranked Virginia, 74-63.
This is a streaky team.
They're on a roll now. Do you believe they're over 500 in the ACC after that start?
No. Hard to believe.
7-6. Go Pitt. Go Pitt indeed. If they had a free agent, this quarterback guy who I won't mention, the local, who, came here with all the fanfare. It's kind of a free agent. You can use the transfer portal as free agent.
Well, you know what? It really is akin to that, isn't it?
He was probably as much to blame for the loss of this season as anybody.
Yeah, and we weren't allowed to boo him.
No, because he's a kid. Which again,
Shut up.
They want all the pluses. They want all the pluses of being a football star. Part of it is you're going to get booed when you stink. Nobody threw anything at him.
I got booed playing hockey at Duquesne in our intramural games.
I was the one up top doing it. But I get sick of this. When I got a little irritated for the not playing in the bowl thing. Oh, don't get on these kids. These kids are 24 and 25 years old. Now.
Yeah, come on.
They're men. Okay, yeah. They're getting paid. They made a decision that I didn't agree with. So yeah, they're legal. I'm not going to criticize a high school kid or a guy in my Pop Warner team. But I'm sorry, when you want the pluses, you're going to take the minuses when you stink.
Yeah. Thought of another Penguin.
Please.
Ziggy Palffy.
He was bad. Yeah.
And he quit in the middle of the year.
Yeah, he should have. Because he didn't take any. He gave up his money, correct?
Yeah, I think he did.
I believe he did give up his money.
42 games, but he had 42 points in 42 games, so I guess that wasn't as bad. But $13.5 million.
Your Dukes are going to lose, by the way.
Ugh.
There was only 3 points at the half. It is now 17 points.
I had such high hopes.
Could be the most disappointing season, even more so than the 3-win season.
Yeah. 3-win season, we weren't expecting anything. So
No, but this is a better team than what they're playing. Thank God the girls seem to have
Coach Bird.
Hell of a job.
Yeah.
A10 coach of the year.
No doubt.
I was looking to see about getting him on, but he plays every Wednesday through the season.
He did that just to spite us.
I think that's why he scheduled it. That bastard.
Yeah.
Since we are taping tonight, I can use the term bastard, by the way.
You can. Are we missing anybody?
I think as far as the bad ones, I think we've caught them.
Oh, shoot. The guy that they got before Trevor Daly, or after Trevor Daly left.
Johnson. We're forgetting Johnson from Columbus.
Oh, and shit. Oh, see, I can swear now too. Johnson Jackson too. Yeah, those are two bad ones. Oh, Matt, I was thinking of Matt Hertwig.
Okay, that was pretty bad. We've just cut the lead to 16, but
so you're telling me there's a chance, Dave?
Now I'm saying there's a chance. But those were some bad ones, Fletch.
But of all of them, which is worse, Bell or Blunt?
I think Bell had a more impacting hurt on this team.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a team with such bad attitudes, though?
No. And another one who also fed into that was Pat Mears.
Oh, Pat Mears was horrible. Best thing they did was cut him.
Yeah.
He was horrible. I've never been a fan of Kendall's trying, but that grit, there's a difference between grit and pushing your players to win.
Yeah.
And grit and just being an asshole about it. No, I've never seen him, but from what you read, he seemed like he was a bit of one.
Yeah, I did a story on him.
He let you look at his pitch. I remember.
Yeah, I went out to his place in California, hung out with him for a few days, and he was a little bitter. I think here's the thing, Dave. Losing will do that to you. You can come in with the best of intentions. If you're a competitor and you're continually losing, it's going to wear you down.
Well, it will. It will.
But Mears and Kendall made life like miserable for Jack Wilson when he first came. He wasn't making a lot of money. He had bad teeth, and they nicknamed him Beetlejuice, and they would call him that in the locker room.
They couldn't do that now.
No.
They couldn't do that now for fear, the Beetlejuice contingent would come out and protest.
But, free agency really, it cost Dave Littlefield his job.
Should have.
Well, it should have.
It should have, because he didn't develop players until this regime. When did you see a Latin American pitcher have any success with the Pirates? They should have a fee. They have the god of baseball players down there as an inspiration.
Right.
To play in Roberto Clemente's world should be an honor for them, but yet they can't seem to corner those players. Hopefully, they have some decent people coming up in the system. So hopefully that has ended. But I mean, you're talking 3 decades worth of failure.
Yeah. Well, we've said this before. You don't lose consistently on accident.
No.
There's reasons for it.
Yeah. No, without a doubt. But
so do you think they make another deal before the season starts?
I honestly think they're looking at that. I think they're probably apprehensive to empty their farm system, because you could have had Cruz for one of your second basemen and another top 10 prospect.
There's still some free agents out there.
There are. I don't know that they'll go that route. They do need another pitcher.
They need another pitcher.
I mean,
they did make the move at catcher. That was a good move, I think.
very good move. It allows, I mean, Henry Davis becomes your backup.
Yeah.
And he plays right field when he's not. So kind of helps with your outfield issue. And then maybe mid-season you trade Grandel, and if he progresses enough, he gets the full-time job.
Yeah.
But let's face it, he's not going to get that job next year.
No. But, you know, what are they at, a 17% chance of making the playoffs? Is that the last thing from Fangraphs?
It is, but look at it this way. And I'm not saying they're making the playoffs. I think their pitching issues the first half are going to prevent that. But on paper, right now, you are a better team than you were at the end of the season when you were playing over 500.
Oh, absolutely. And you've got your young guys a little bit more experience.
Right. And if you can maintain a 500 record through mid-June when your young pitchers are ready to make an impact at the major league level, all of a sudden maybe you got a 35, 39, 40% chance of making the playoffs at that point.
Well, as much as they disappointed us after that start, I mean, they improved 14 games last year. That's nothing to sneeze at.
And when you were down and out and about to go into oblivion again, you bring up your kids and they did what they had to win. Their stats might not have been, what anybody expected. They were rookie stats. I mean, that's what you expect a rookie to be. But man, they were impressive when the game was on the line. And that bullpen, which I think is the best bullpen in the National League at this point.
Well, it allows them to have some options. They could play that 6-inning game.
Yeah.
The key is, some of those pitchers, they'd make it through the first time through the lineup, maybe the second time through, but that was it. And then they weren't fooling anybody.
Well, that was Priester's problem. Priester's problem was after he got through a lineup once, they figured him out fairly quickly.
So do you put him in the pen?
That's an option. I think he's going to get a real opportunity for the number 5 slot.
Yeah, I think so too.
You hope Contreras, because if Contreras doesn't make the team, if I'm not mistaken, he has no options left.
Right.
Somebody will pick him up.
Ortiz is interesting.
I really felt at the end of the season, he's a solid number 4 or 5 guy. I have him penciled in the rotation for sure. I think the number 5 slot comes down to Contreras and Priester at this point. That's going to be a good battle in free agent or in spring training. Gonzalez versus Peguero is going to be a great. Is Olivares as good as they think he can be? He could be that one surprise offensive guy like Andy Van Slyke was after they picked him up.
And, what are we going to see from O'Neal Cruz? How's that healing from that injury going to look like?
Yeah.
Is he going to lose some of that lateral movement?
Well, if it was a joint injury, I think possible. But being it was a leg, I really feel comfortable with him coming back the way he was.
He predicted 40-40 for himself, remember?
I know he did. And that's the one thing about him and Peguero in the center, which is why I kind of project him as beating Gonzalez. They have potential Peguero hit 20 homers among all levels last year.
Yeah.
You get 30 home runs from, when was the last time we had 55 home runs from our middle infield?
Whew. Yeah.
And
we'll see if we get a bopping first baseman. I don't know.
Well, we're better than we were last year, I think, offensively.
Yeah.
Everybody sung the praises of Santana, but remember, Santana was getting hot the couple weeks before.
Right.
And that's what made his. Before that, his stats were very meager at best.
He was barely hitting his weight.
Yeah, and his weight was, up there.
Yeah.
Now, what major league player Do you, if you're Rob Manfred, what major league player do you try to set up with the hot tail singer to put on the Saturday game of the week every?
Well, I mean, the guy who's with the Pirates. What the hell's his name? Shoot.
No, Cole Tucker.
Cole Tucker.
But you can't parade him around.
They just need Cole Tucker to improve. That's all.
Say what you want about Taylor Swift and this. I truly believe, I saw those ratings for the Super Bowl. I think she was about 10 or 20% of that. They were record ratings.
Yep. And you know who's sweating about her right now?
Who?
One Donald Trump.
Why is he sweating?
Because she's going to get people to go out and vote and go out and vote for Mr. Biden.
For the non-Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. But, Joan Jett doesn't have that kind of appeal at this point, does she?
But she loves rock and roll.
Put it in a tube sock? Is that what she's singing?
Oh, misheard lyrics.
Louie. Literally, you can write your own lyrics to that and think they're correct.
There's a big controversy about that, too. I mean, they were investigated. The song was banned because they thought they were saying something dirty.
Were they?
They were not. It's a song about a guy leaving his girlfriend where he goes to sea.
Not unlike Brandy.
Oh, fine girl.
She was a fine girl.
A good wife she would be.
Well, I'm going to bring this up here. Louie lyrics. Okay. Fine little girl, she waits for me. Oh, yeah, me catch the ship. Poor English, Fletch.
Well, it's a Jamaican song. It was first, I think, recorded by the Wailers in the pre-Bob Marley days.
All right. Do you change them if you know the language?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
The one that I was,
the song 3 nights and days.
The song "Me and Bobby McGee," Janis Joplin.
A favorite, yeah.
I misheard the lyrics in that.
What did you think they were?
Well, there's that one section there where it's windshield wipers tapping time. Okay?
Okay, what'd you think?
Windshield wipers turpentine, which made no sense.
It made no sense.
But that's what I heard.
You thought maybe a little acid drop had happened.
I was like, okay.
All right. But that song, Fletch, are there many great screaming songs in the car as Janis Joplin has sung?
Oh. What is your all-time car song?
I got two.
Okay.
All right. From Janis Joplin, Piece of My Heart.
All right.
Not because I like the song, but I like the screaming aspect.
Yeah.
The Whipping Post.
Yeah.
Another favorite song of mine. Actually, in the 90s, I don't know if I ever told you this. That was a song I'd play before Steeler playoff games.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because I played it on the way down to the AFC Colts Steeler game. And that became my go-to pump-up song for the playoffs. So those are the two. And the last one would be Queen's Somebody to Love. Because
you're going up and down, aren't you? You're singing all the sports.
I sing all of them. I do the background. And when they're both together, I'm getting tired.
Yeah, it's a good way to get winded.
Yeah. What are yours?
Well, the Tom Robinson Band, 2468 Motorway. That's a driving song, my friend.
I'll have to bring it up. I've never heard it.
Eddie and the Hot Rods, Do Anything You Want to Do.
Okay, I can see that.
And then I guess probably my number one would be by my band, the Jam.
Yeah.
Going Underground.
Okay. I can see those. Now, do you ever challenge yourself? Did I ever tell you my Turnpike challenge?
No.
One song to make it between Irwin, where I work, and again, I won't say North Huntingdon,
Right.
and Monroeville, where I live. The Contenders, which I've made, but I got to admit, I went 85 miles an hour to do it.
Mm-hmm.
One bourbon, one shot, and one beer.
Yeah.
Which again, I ask you the question: if your halftime is 12 minutes, does basically George Thorogood have to use the whole time with one song?
Yeah, I think he does.
Okay. I made it to that. American Pie, I get to the exit of Monroeville, but I've claimed I got to go through the gate till it counts.
Well, you should try from the album, the Super Session album.
Okay.
Al Cooper, Stephen Stills, Mike Bloomfield, in their version of Season of the Witch, clocking in at over 11 minutes.
Okay. I'll try that next. I mean, one that works, but I don't think it counts. I'm going to let you be the judge. The Bob Seger Live, Beautiful Loser. What's the other song with it?
Oh, it's a medley. No.
Yeah, he cuts it. He cuts it down the middle.
No. Does not count.
Okay. I didn't think the Detroit medley counted from Bruce Springsteen, which,
no,
by the way, I've maybe been to only 20 concerts in my life, and he's been 12. That is my favorite concert moment, my favorite Bruce Springsteen moment, 1985 at the Civic Arena. It's his birthday the next day, so he plays till midnight. And after midnight, he breaks out to the Detroit medley song.
Nice.
Plays it for about a half hour. Greatest music moment of all. Now, you're like 100 times the music man I am. I mean, 20 concerts you can go to in a year. But what's your favorite concert memory?
Wow. That's a tough one. Maybe the first time I saw Paul Weller, that was very emotional for me. Well, I'm gonna give you a couple of different answers to that. There's one artist that I've seen more than anybody else. I've seen Peter Case 27 times.
Wow.
I've seen him as a member, as solo. I've seen him as a member of a reformed Plimsolls, and I've seen him. Well, I didn't get to see him. I had tickets for that one, but I would say him or Tommy Keene. Tommy Keene had a photographic memory, and so he would remember pretty much every fan who would come to his shows. And anytime I would see him, he would ask me about something we talked about like 2 years before. It was amazing.
Recently dead?
Dead for about 5 years now.
Okay. I seem to remember you posting that. And he's one I actually heard of.
Yeah, his song "Places That Are Gone," perfect song.
So he's, that's good. That's good. It's those. I don't have a lot of concert memories, as I said, but that would be my top one.
The other one, I guess I would say would be in 1984. I flew to New York by myself to go see the Style Council. The Style Council would play only 4 shows in this country, and I saw one of
them. Okay. Every time you've mentioned something to me and I've played them, I've liked it. So I do respect and appreciate your opinion on the music. You are the music guru.
I try.
Yeah. I am the 60s sitcom guru.
Yes, you are.
But I've never seen one live.
I've only seen one TV show live.
Which was?
A taping of the Gary Shandling Show.
Classic. He was a classic man. Now, one of the last things we're going to do here is we're going to pay homage. I got this yesterday. The last the last Bill James handbook.
Oh, wow.
Now, say what you want about this man. He changed the game. He changed how it's played. Now, a lot of people have, in my estimation, with the launch angles and things like that, are destroying the game. But Bill James' methods worked. The 2004 Boston Red Sox breaking of the curse was mostly due to Bill James, who Boston had hired.
Yep.
And I got my first. People remember getting laid, and again, we're taped, so I can say that, on their honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I've loved my life with my wife, and I will never criticize that aspect of her. But my favorite memory of my honeymoon is buying the 1985 Bill James handbook, my first experience with Bill James too.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional for me.
I'm weeping right now. I'm trying to hide it.
I know. And that's with, the emotion of, Tony was born 9 months and 5 days after we got married. So even with that, that's how much respect I have for Bill James.
Not even Bill could hold you back.
Not even Bill could hold me back. In fact, I bought Bill, only 4 days after my marriage. So, you can see Bill James was the inspiration for me having children.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he definitely improved your on base average. No question.
He did. But you know what? A lot of these guys, I don't like having to carry a glossary around when you read it. Bill James makes you understand what he's talking about, makes you understand why he thinks, what he thinks could be correct. And that's what I like about him. These other guys, and you see it now, they want to be like the smart guy. So they just bust off these stats like everybody's supposed to know what the hell they're talking about. And I really don't think they know what they're talking about.
No, the other thing that Bill James did that I thought was really great was putting some context to some of the older players. Like he said that Archie Vaughn was the second best shortstop in baseball history. And he made his case for it.
Well, you can say what you want about him. The greatest baseball book ever written, and we've both read a lot of great baseball books, is his original.
Mm-hmm.
His big encyclopedic look at baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one of the saddest days in my life is when my one copy got flooded, my original. You remember the basement flood where
I remember the Great Basement Flood, yes.
That's why I moved everything upstairs, so it could never happen again.
Yeah, you just were annexing territory,
Well, hey, it's what I do. It's what I do best. But that thing, it just makes so much sense out of it. I mean, who has Archie Vaughn as their second? But when you read it, you're right. You agree with them.
Yeah.
And in his book about the Hall of Fame, he makes a clear statement. Al Oliver will be in before the year 2000. Al Oliver's not in, but you look at his stats and you think he's probably the most screwed player in the game when it comes to the Hall of Fame.
Well, he was also screwed by collusion. I mean, he didn't get a contract. He lost at least, a season and a half, maybe more.
Yes.
And he was 250 some hits shy of 3,000?
He would have had 3,000 hits.
Yeah.
I do believe that. What a great clutch hitter. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts. And, that was just a damn shame. But anyways, we bid adieu to Bill James. I'm looking forward. He does a lot more. He gets back in this. I mean, before it was stats. And I liked it because he broke down the game in ways you can understand it, not deviated formulas that. And the worst ones I hate are the ERA, because what do they mean? What do they mean? ERA means what you give up over the course
of 9 innings. Yeah.
And I don't give a damn if you have this is what the pitcher is going to give up, regardless of if you have a bad defense out or not, regardless.
Right.
Because you're not striking out 9 guys, your actual ERA should be a point or two higher. No, This is what you're giving up. But Bill James created stats that made you understand fielding better. I mean, his win shares were a crock of shit. And he even admits it now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I look forward to this. There's a lot of old-fashioned things in here. He does do his one stat, the fielding Bible, which he was known for, rates Brian Hayes as the best fielder in the game, not just at third base.
Hard to argue that.
Yeah. But so if you get a chance, the walk-off edition. This week we also have coming out the book I'm probably most proud of because it's something I always wanted to write. I did it along with some of the great Pirate experts on prospects. Used to work for Pirate Prospects. Now they're kind of independent, but they teamed up for this to produce the 2024 Pirate Minor League Guide. We'll have that on Amazon in the next week or two. Top 50 prospects. The next 25, you get a full 3-page analysis of those prospects. On the next 25, you get a couple paragraphs. We do, John Drecker and myself do 7 historical articles on Pirate prospects. We project out the 26-man roster. We project out where you're going to see these guys in the minors. And we break down the 2023 season by position. Basically, was it a success or not by position? So look for that on Amazon. We'll have the link. So I've always wanted to write a reference book because I'm like a junkie for reference books.
Nice.
So I'm excited by this.
I'll have to clear a little space on the bookshelf there.
I will make sure you get it. 251 pages of Pirate Prospect. So it's a beast. Not as big of a beast as ours. Our Steel City 500.
Yeah.
That was my all-time beast.
That was a fun book.
Oh, hugely. And we believe horses are athletes.
Yeah.
And you can find it on Amazon.com. The Steel City 500 if you want to know. Now, next week I propose for you. I mean, we may get a guest.
Okay.
But here's what I want to do next week. I want to kind of have a bracket for Pittsburgh athletes. Famous ones we compare. Bradshaw versus Roethlisberger. Crosby versus Lemieux.
Mm-hmm.
Let's come up with you want to do a 16?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, we'll break it down and then we'll give our Pittsburgh athlete of all time as we break down our brackets worst by worst. And we're also going to talk, which I had an interesting conversation tonight, the one who destroyed the Steeler dynasty more and leads them to the problems they're having now, Ben Roethlisberger. And his refusal to tell him whether he was retiring or not so they wouldn't get his replacement as he was aging.
And snubbing Mason Rudolph when they did draft him.
Jagoff move.
Yeah.
So we got that and more next week. Do you want us to play our song?
Play us out, buddy.
Okay. Let me get you here.